Lucy Apps, a medical student at the demonstration, told Martha Carney what she saw.
I'd just seen him sort of running along, but he was quite unsteady, and he ran into the edge of a doorway. He didn't run into it very hard, but he sort of stopped and then he collapsed and fell over. So I went over to him to try and help, and I asked him if he was okay, and he was laughing and he was smiling, and he said that he was fine. He said at least 3 times that he was fine. He didn't complain of any chest pain. He didn't seem to be in any pain or in any distress. He didn't seem to have any difficulty breathing. I put him in a recovery position, and he quite quickly stopped responding to us and stopped responding to what we were saying. He was finding it very difficult to focus. We called an ambulance and we asked someone to go for help. There was a guy on the phone to the ambulance, and they told us to put him flat on his back. So we put him flat on his back, but at that point the police charged the crowd. So I went and stood at his feet to stop him from getting trampled with my arms out, saying that there was someone behind me, and people were veering around him. And then I went back to his side, but then the police arrived and they forced us away from him. They told us to move. I didn't move, and they forcibly moved me away from him. I was trying to speak to them to say that I'm a third-year medical student, and they said, "Did you see him collapse?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Do you know him?" I said, "No." They were like, "Well, move along, we're dealing with this." The guy was on the phone to the ambulance, and he said to them that the operator wanted to speak to them, and he was asking them to speak to the operator, and he held the phone out to the police officer, and the police officer said, "No, move along, we're dealing with this." He refused to speak to the ambulance operator, and we all got moved away. We got swept up in the crowd because the police then charged the crowd again, and we had to run again.
The police officers at the scene were medics, though, according to the Metropolitan Police statement.
Well, they sent a group of police, and they surrounded him, and there were 2 police medics with them who started to treat him.
So what was the last that you saw of him?
He was surrounded by these police, and I saw him kind of through their legs, and there was 2 police medics kneeling with him, and I couldn't actually see what they were doing. They seemed to be touching his face, or I'm not sure, but they weren't. I didn't see them giving him CPR, but that doesn't mean that they weren't. I just had to move along.
The police statement from that evening on the 1st of April said that the officers decided to move Ian Tomlinson as during this time a number of missiles, believed to be bottles, were being thrown at them.
Yeah, I find that strange. I mean, the first rule of first aid is that you don't move a casualty. My friends only saw 1 bottle thrown. I personally didn't see any bottles thrown. And I find that if they're using the fact that bottles were thrown as justification for moving him, I don't think that was justification enough.
When asked to respond to Lucy Apps' version of events, the Metropolitan Police said, "We're unable to make comment while there's an IPCC investigation ongoing.